Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something that a lot of us are curious about, but maybe don't totally get: psychotherapy. What is it? How does it actually work? And what are the different ways it can help people? So let's find out what's really going on behind that closed door.
Right? For so many of us, the therapist's office is kind of like this mystery box. We see it in movies, we hear friends talk about it, but what is actually happening in there? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into.
All right, so let's kick off our guided tour with the biggest question of all. When we say psychotherapy, what are we even talking about?
Okay, so at its absolute core, it's a voluntary relationship. And that word, voluntary, is so important. It means you choose to be there. This isn't just a casual chat with a friend over coffee. It's a real professional partnership, and it's specifically designed to help you work through psychological challenges.
And look at the goals here. There's so much more than just fixing a problem. Of course, a big part is lessening emotional pain, but it's also about building you up. It's about changing habits that don't serve you, shifting your thinking, becoming more self-aware, and ultimately unlocking your own potential for growth. Now, you can't achieve any of those goals without one absolutely crucial element. It's really the engine that makes the whole thing run, and that is the therapeutic alliance. Seriously, think of this alliance as the foundation of the entire house. Without a solid, trusting partnership between you and your therapist, nothing else can be built on top. In fact, tons of research shows that the quality of this relationship is often a better predictor of success than the specific type of therapy used. It's the real vehicle for change, the thing that makes it safe enough to do the hard work. So how does a therapist create that strong foundation? Well, it comes down to these key qualities. They have to be genuine, warm, and then there's this big one: unconditional positive regard. It's a powerful idea. It means the therapist accepts and supports you exactly as you are, without any judgment. But maybe the most important skill of all is empathy.
And this is such an important distinction. Sympathy is feeling sorry for someone. It's kind of looking down from the outside. But empathy is feeling with someone. It's the therapist's ability to really step into your shoes, to try and understand the world from your point of view. That feeling of being truly understood, that's what creates a healing relationship.
Okay, so we've got the foundation, that client-therapist alliance. But where do you go from there? Well, it turns out there isn't just one path. Psychology offers several different roadmaps for the mind, and we're going to look at 3 of the major ones. This table breaks it down so well. Just look at that top row, the cause of problem. A psychodynamic therapist believes the root cause is some unresolved conflict from your past. But a behavior therapist, they'd say, nope, the problem is a faulty behavior you've learned. And then an existential therapist comes along and says the issue is a deeper question about your life's meaning. So you can see how each of those starting points leads to a totally different approach, a different role for the therapist, and a different benefit for you. Okay, that's the big picture view. To make this feel a little more real, let's zoom in on just one of these: behavior therapy, and take a closer look at what's actually in its toolkit. The key word here is present. This approach isn't about digging deep into your childhood memories. It's all about what's happening right now. The idea is pretty simple. If our problems come from learned patterns, then we can unlearn them. We can learn new, better ways of behaving and thinking. It's very hands-on and action-oriented.
This quote nails it. You can almost think of it like debugging code in a computer program. You find the line of code that's causing the error, that's the faulty behavior, and the therapist helps you rewrite it to substitute it with a new, more adaptive line of code that works better.
So where does this approach really shine? Well, one of its most powerful and well-known uses is in treating phobias. You know, those really intense, irrational fears that can completely take over someone's life. And the technique they use is called systematic desensitization.
So how do you actually do it? Well, you don't just jump into the deep end. It's a very careful, step-by-step process. First, the therapist teaches you how to get into a state of deep relaxation. Then, together, you create what's called a fear hierarchy, or a fear ladder, basically ranking scary situations from a little bit scary to your absolute worst nightmare. Finally, while you're in that super relaxed state, you start at the very bottom of the ladder. You imagine the least scary thing until it doesn't bother you anymore, and you slowly, gradually work your way up. The whole principle is based on the idea that your body cannot be anxious and relaxed at the exact same time. Eventually, relaxation wins.
So we've seen just how different these roadmaps can be, right? From digging into your past to systematically facing your fears in the present. And that really brings us to the most important question of all. Which path is the right one?
And the truth is, there's no single best therapy for everyone. The right fit really depends on you, your personality, and the specific problems you're dealing with. But here's the beautiful thing. Even though the paths can look wildly different, they are all pointed toward the same destination, to help ease suffering and help you grow.
So after our quick tour, we can see that therapy isn't some magic wand. It's a whole collection of tools and roadmaps for the mind. And it leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If your life is a story, what kind of editor do you think you'd need? One who helps you make sense of the early chapters, or one who helps you write the next one?